Okay, rule number one, don't worry about your hair. Okay. Let's see what you got.
Okay.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Slow down. Okay, whatever you just did right there, don't ever do that again.
You are one of my favorite Canadian actresses, and I adore everything you're in. And I think you're such an exciting actress to see on screen. And this was no different, but this was a huge turn for you as this kind of very confident, I don't know, I don't want to call her a stripper. She's just, what's a better explanation for that?
Yeah, I guess it's weird because I too never was really comfortable with calling her a stripper or feel, and only because I didn't feel qualified in that area to play a stripper. But no, I think you hit it on confident. That's, I mean, what I fell in love with and why I wanted to play this part was how confident she was and hoping it might rub off on me, because that sometimes happens when you play a part. I feel like you keep something of it for your real life later. So
Like you can tap into that because you've tapped into it for a film role. You can like maybe tap into that as your
yeah,
regular life sometimes.
I mean, I know some actors I know like to. They see something of themselves in the character, and that's why they want to do it. And a lot of the time, I find I see something in the character on the page that I want for myself, that I want to that to infect my life in a certain way. And I felt that Julia's confidence, her sexual confidence, her ease with just being frank about things, and yeah, just no shrinking. And I loved that about her.
Now that did put you in a few awkward situations.
Yes.
How did that? I mean, pretend like wanting to play a role and actually having to get to the day of on set and being like, "Oh my God!" So I do have to wear a dominatrix outfit or something,
Yeah.
and I have to make it funny because I think comedy is really hard to do, in my opinion. So how was that when you actually got to set and having to deal with that?
Well, it's funny because when I had first read the script, I didn't know what part they were offering me, and I assumed that it was the Rachel character played by Sarah Mannanen, and I just assumed that because that seemed like no one would ever offer me the stripper role, and she was described as gorgeous and all these things, and the Rachel character was more what I'd done before. And so I called my agent and I was like, I love this Julia part, and I know it's going to be a fight, and I know they're probably thinking of me for the other thing, and we're going to have to convince them. And I keep talking, and when I finished talking, she was like, no, they want you for Julia. And at that point I was like, oh well, I can't play Julia. I can't play a stripper. I could never do that. And don't they know what I look like? And so at that point, I had a conversation with Sean and Jonas, half kind of telling them, making sure they knew what they were casting. And when we were all on the same page about it, I think the main discussion to make it comfortable enough on set for it to be awkward and funny, was that we were all on the same page with the tone of the sex and the tone of the movie. And we were definitely in the vein of, I think we all have the same taste in that I like seeing real sex, or people in real moments. It takes me out of the movie when I see somebody holding a sheet up like that. And I also, as an actor, find it a lot harder to act like that because I'm just concerned about holding the sheet up and I'm not in the scene. So on the day when we were shooting, it was actually, because we'd have all those discussions, it was the most enjoyable, funnest, if that's a word, time I've ever had shooting. Completely honestly, every moment, was amazing.
The content of the film, like the fact that you don't shy away from anything. How do you think that's going to translate to audiences? I mean, one, getting it into the theaters, or how? I mean, I personally feel like we have HBO and Showtime now. I think we can handle a lot, like a lot of content. So, so I'm wondering kind of where you see it going. As far as it going across Canada, or it kind of reaching audiences. Do you think that how they'll respond to it?
Well, I was actually, I questioned that too before I saw the movie at TIFF, and the reaction from the audiences that we got was honestly like I've had 8 movies at TIFF. It was the best crowd reaction I've ever seen in each screening, and from people that you wouldn't, like moms and dads laughing. Like, I think we managed, or not even we, I really think it was Jonas's script and Sean's execution of it, managed to strike the perfect tone, which is really hard to do, because I also wasn't sure. I was going kind of trusting that this sex we're doing and stuff, well, you could cross a line in that where it's just not, because of the comedy, it's not just the right tone. And I think he hit everything spot on in a way that audiences feel the way I felt, I guess, when I read the script, which was, it's weird. It reminded me of those old Billy Wilder movies like Irma la Douce and The
Love that movie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There is some, because when you see the title, My Awkward Sexual Adventure, you don't think that there's a sweetness to it. And I really, that's, other than the character that he wrote, I felt like the reason I wanted to do this movie was there was this lovely heart to it that I'd never seen before in a movie that's a sex comedy,
And they all both the characters, the main characters, have something to offer each other, which I thought was exceptional.
Yeah, and it's genuine. Like, it does have a definite movie feel. Like, I remember a good friend of mine who saw the screening after, she's like, that, and she loves rom-coms, and she's like, that's the best rom-com I ever saw, and she was crying at the end, and I'm like, Mimi, really? and I loved that reaction, especially because I rarely do movies that I would think my parents would be proud of, and you wouldn't think that this is one that they would want to see, but surprisingly, I feel like it touches people in a way that goes to your heart a bit. Like, you want these people to be together.
I died of embarrassment inside watching this movie. But I like Ricky Gervais, and
Me too,
yeah, I love things where I feel like, oh my God, I can't watch. Oh, I'm watching it.
That's what I find funny too. Like, I never find jokes funny. You mentioned Ricky Gervais, and that is exactly my kind of humor, when it's like you're kind of cringing, but it's real, and it's
you have a tendency to play really, really interesting characters. Like, as a female actress, you have really incredible roles that most female actresses don't get the opportunity to play, and I don't know why that is. I don't know whether they're a little bit concerned, like in Good Neighbors, like, you were sinister, you know what I mean? And so I just, do you enjoy that aspect of it? Do you search those out? Do they come to you?
I feel really lucky that I have been able to get these amazing female characters, because I think you're right that I have had, if I go back, they've all been pretty strange and fantastic, and I think I have a few theories about that. Partly, I think it has to do with, I think there's more opportunity in Canada for me or an actor to get to play lead parts like that. Usually they need a name for them, and in Canada, and normally I wouldn't get the chance, because regardless of who's better for the part or whatever, you need a name, and I wouldn't get that part. But then there's also, I have a community of friends here who are writers, directors, and we like to collaborate together, and so I think I get a lot of roles specifically people will specifically think of me because we know it, like Jacob. I mean, Good Neighbors, he sent it to me, and he'd read the book and he sent it to me, and he's like, you are the only one who will love Louise. And he was absolutely right. This was a person that I was in love with. And the other thing I think is that when I started doing movies, I was fat for a while and I got character parts. And so I started as a character actress, and as, I don't want to say I got prettier, but I mean, I went through a really bad phase. And I don't know if you've ever seen Snow Cake, but if you see that movie, I have a bowl cut and I'm like 150 pounds and I'm really fat. And anyway,
She's really short too, by the way.